This is the Loiners View Podcast.
This is the Loiners View Podcast. Hello and welcome to Loiners View, the Rugby League podcast made by Leeds fans. So this week, unfortunately, our panellist Danny's not well and he's not with us this week. Danny, we hope you're well. But with us, two legends. We have Chris Patrick.
Hi guys.
And Mr. Jordan Walker himself.
Hey Laurie, we survived another week of this shit show anyway, haven't we?
It's been tested, and it as normal, mate, as normal. So basically, we're kind of changing the show. It's a bit of a special this week. We are looking at away days. The best thing about rugby league. Well, not quite the best thing, but one of the best aspects. So this week's show, we're kind of going to go through what we decide, we're going to try and decide is the best away day of rugby league. So we're kind of going to go through almost like a virtual M62, go from east to west, and we're going to go and sort of review all the venues and away days. Please don't be offended, folks. It's only a laugh. We need a laugh at days, don't we? It's got to be done. Right, so first of all, gents, Hull KR. Now, Hull KR, what can we say about Hull KR? Anyone?
I quite like it as an away day.
It's not a bad away day, though. It's right. The only problem is the grounds. It's traditional, but
it's a lot better. The new stands made it a lot better.
Oh, do you remember going in that golf stand behind sticks all those many years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, they gave you like buy one get one free tickets just to stand there. Almost
What's
like competition.
What's this new stand like? I've not been for about 3 years or so.
All right, it's a bit.
I've not been
anyway.
for years. I've not been for a while.
Oh, Chris, mate, you're missing it. It's all right actually. It's got a nice concourse, do nice pints. But yeah, and they've got a band playing. It's kind of like a little version of the South Stand, you know, like how it is now at Headingley. It's kind of like that. It's all right actually. It's not too bad.
Yeah, the last time I went, we were at the opposite end.
Oh, back
you
in
know what I mean? Where you
Grimsby.
just like stood around it.
The Grimsby end.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The Grimsby
So
end,
I'm
we'll call
talking
it.
probably about 4 years ago, I think.
Oh, probably a bit more than that.
Maybe more. Yeah.
Maybe more. But it's all right. Go on, Jordan.
Yeah, it's not a bad away trip. It's all right. So it's hard for me to really judge it then, I suppose, because it's been a few years since it's been redevelopment. But yeah. I'll take your recommendations on it.
Go on, Jordan.
We played them on the first away game one year when we were in that temporary stand, and it was fucking freezing. Do you remember? It
was a Saturday night, wasn't it, or a Sunday?
That's the one.
Yeah, Saturday night. Absolutely. Freezing cold on there, like Baltic basically, especially with wind coming in from Umber.
Yeah,
it always is. Every time you go to KR, it's always freezing.
Right, so
one of my lasting memories from any trip to Hull KR, and Chris knows what I'm going to say because he was next to me at the time as well. To be honest, I am renowned for being a bit of a piss taker and making the odd story up, trying to wind people up and things. But it was on the way back from Hull KR, I think in 2011, that I got a text to say that Gaza had turned up to serve Raoul Mort with a fishing rod and a chicken and various other items. So I've told all the lads on the bus, and Chris's go-to response was, "Oh, just Joe dicking about again. Fuck off, he hasn't." And then Chris looks on his phone. Oh shit, he actually has turned up with a fishing rod.
Yeah. And I've got to say as well, you always get a nice warm welcome at Hull KR. Actually, to be fair, they are quite a friendly bunch. I'm not sure if it's because of the Leeds Hull sort of rivalry, but they're not a bad bunch, Hull KR, I must admit.
No, and when on the flip side, Hull KR bring 8 million away fans everywhere they go as well, so they like an away day.
I tell you what, we miss. Well, I mean, they did this year. They brought loads to Headingley, so it's not too bad. Right, so gents, out of 10, Hull KR, what are we giving it?
6.
7.
I think 7's probably about right. Okay, so Hull KR on a Loiners View rating gets us 7. 7. We'll go with 7. Okay, across the city lies a nice football stadium that's occupied by Hull FC. What do I reckon to Hull FC away, boys?
I think Hull away now. I don't know whether you guys will agree. I think rivalry or the hatred that you would normally get from Hull FC fans from years ago. I think it's died down maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I think, I reckon it's probably because of the success that they've had in the Challenge Cup. It's kind of mellowed them out a little bit. You might have a Hull fan listening to this now going F off, you and all this, but I've kind of noticed the hatred has kind of died down a little bit since they've beat us at Cardiff. Unfortunately, they've won a few Challenge Cups. So I remember the times like a few years ago when we first started going. Do you remember we used to just jump on the coach, we used to get the police escort all the time?
I know, it was horrible.
We'd have all sorts of stuff thrown at us. Getting Instagram, getting out. I actually quite like it. They seem to have done quite a good job making Hull FC in general to visit a lot more family orientated. I can't really comment on the Boulevard, but I think now in this day and age, it's a lot more fan friendly to visit.
George, what's your abiding memory?
Just the atmosphere when you go there. To be honest, I would say arguably, Hull FC's probably got the loudest set of fans in Super League. Like when they sing "Old Faithful" and things like that, it does make the hair stand up on your arms.
Yeah, I was just about to say the hairs on the neck stand. Yeah, I must admit it does. It's one of those places where, depending on where you get dropped off, if you go across that park to the stadium, you kind of get a feeling of the atmosphere as you walk across, and it just feels right. It's almost like, it's a modern stadium, but it does have that, makes you feel part of something special that's happening. What would you rate Hull then, maybe, as an away day?
7. Good atmosphere, and we sometimes win there, so yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say 7. I'd probably rate it maybe a little bit higher if we would be able to go back to being positioned behind the sticks like we used to be.
I think they are doing this year. I'm not sure.
Are we switching?
No. Somebody's probably going to say no, they're not, Laurie. I can see this happening on a podcast, but I think maybe I think they're kind of still on the corner. Maybe I'll have to have a look on that. But
yeah, because we've had a few issues. I would just think actually we've had a few issues because we used to be situated behind the sticks, make some right noise, and they shoved us in the corner. What year were it when we all went and we didn't realise we had to book tickets together? And
it was about 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it? We're on Good Friday about 2 years ago, yeah. I still remember the best game that I've ever... This is honest truth. The best game of rugby league I've ever seen was at that ground. And it was...
I know what
you're not going to say it, don't you?
I know what you're going to say.
The Academy Grand Final, I think 2006, Hull FC 0, Leeds 1. And it was one of the best games of rugby league I've ever seen. Absolutely quality venue. So...
Did Luke Gill win his up goal that day?
I think it was actually, yeah. In fact, that is a very good point. Yeah, I think he was. I think Lee Smith were playing. There were quite a few people who've gone on to play first team. So yeah.
There's one. If one of our listeners has got the team sheet lying about, I'd love to see that. Please, so tweet us and let us know.
Yeah, get in touch with @Loiners View. If anybody's got the 2006 Academy Grand Final team sheet for both teams, please let us know because that'd be amazing as well.
What year are we talking?
2006, mate. Yeah, it was amazing. Okay. Absolutely incredible. Right, so I'm going to go 7.5. That's what I think we should give it. I think it's an impressive, it's a good day out when you go to Hull FC. Right, so we're going to go down the M62. We're going to a place which, well, how can we put this? Castleford. I mean, what can we say about Castleford, boys?
I love it. It's one of the best away days for me. It's got, the ground's tired. That's the best way I'll put it. But it's one of the only games you go to where there's a bit of atmosphere. You go there. The haters don't, let's be honest.
Yeah, they do.
It's it is genuinely during the game. It's a great atmosphere, and we don't do so well there, though, do we? Not lately.
It's been a bit of a weird place for us. We seem to either play well and get beat, and they're quite close. We either destroy them or they destroy us. So it's kind of been a bit mixed over the last, if you look at the last 10 years, it's kind of, we've not had the best run, but we've had some interesting games there. And one thing I do love about Cass is it's so extreme. And you know what I'm going to talk about here, boys? The weather at Cass. We've all been there. 1 minute it can be absolutely baking hot, sunny, get sunburned, especially as a ginger like I am. It's a nightmare. It can then all of a sudden start hailing. It can start snowing. I've been there when it snowed. And then we can talk about the thunderstorm game of 2009. That has to be the scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life, stood behind that sticks for that game. unbelievable. So Cass also as well, Cass City Centre, Cass Town Centre, honestly, some really good pubs around there, some dodgy ones, but it's a really good day out, if you for a few drinks around the town, it's quite good.
I agree, Ross. Yeah, I think I think you jump off the train, you've got the you got the Lamplighters. What's the other place opposite
that
train
Legion
station?
right next to the
Legion, yeah.
Legion.
Oh, Legion's closed now.
Of like really old-fashioned pubs as you go through them. And like Jordan was saying, I just love the banter off them. You just don't go casual. Wear your Leeds colours. You get the amount of shit you get off them. I love it. I think I'm just trying to think now. I mean, for me, what makes the grounds is the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a cracking atmosphere.
The facilities are crap. I'll tell you what, they do make some noise behind the sticks, don't they? I like the pub just behind that stand as well. Is it?
I can never remember that because there were two. One got destroyed by a car. Boot Room. Is it Boot Room? Yeah.
I think so.
Correct. Boot Room. Yeah.
We were on the one of the days I always remember at Cassie's when we were outside that boot room. It was a royal wedding day, so we all met outside. We all met in Wetherspoons at about 9 in the morning, didn't we? I think, and watched the game and stuff. We were having a game, just touch and pass rugby with some Cass fans in the boot room car park. And one of our mates went in to tag one of the Cass lads who ran past. And he caught his shoulder and popped his shoulder out, dislocated it. His shoulder was just hanging. He had to go.
It was a momentous day, wasn't it? That was a very interesting day. That I think
it certainly was.
I think
a lot of money was spent. Day out at Cass once in 2013, I think it was, when they beat us. And obviously, you mentioned the weather, and it snowed like literally all the way home. It took me 8 hours to drive back to Cumbria.
Yes, I got
home at I think it was like 1 in the morning or something ridiculous. By the time I got home, I thought, because it had snowed all the way down, I thought, there's no point going the A1, so I went the M62 and got stuck on bloody Saddleworth Moor in the snow. Nightmare.
You don't be doing that on a snowy day. So, gents, what we're going to give Cass for an away day in marks? What are we giving it?
9.
9? Oh, okay.
I'll go 8.
I think 8.5.
What do you think in terms of
you with your 0.5s?
It's nice to split it down middle, mate.
Cass have got that. That picture, haven't they, of a stadium at Glasshoughton? Do you ever think there's more chance of us being able to go to Wetherspoons tomorrow night than there is that ever getting built? In my opinion.
Exactly. I mean, fair play to them. It looks nice, but it's never going to happen, is it? I mean, it'd be a sad day when they do move out of Jungle.
There was all this talk of Castle for staying in Super League on the premise that they were going to get this brand spanking new ground. And what year were we talking? Back when
1999 apparently or something. I don't know.
God knows.
Right, so that's Castleford. Just down the road, a nice little place called Wakefield. Right, boys. Wakey. Now, I'll be honest with you. I like Wakefield away.
I like it.
Hear me out on this. There is one downside, right? And it's that walk from the city centre to the ground. And that just seems to drag. Doesn't matter what train station you get off at, it drags. I mean, that's the only downside. If that ground was a little bit closer, it'd be superb. But what's your thoughts on Wakey away?
I love it. Brilliant drinking place.
It is. There's some interesting boozers in Wakey, I'll tell you that.
He's a fact for you. Any of the listeners that haven't been to Wakefield for a night out, you're missing out. Honestly, it's one of the most underrated nights out there is. It's like a bloody green room for the Jeremy Kyle show. It's fantastic.
It's like Batley.
It just fascinates me, Wakey. It's just such a you get off the train, no matter what station you get off, there's a pub. Literally, you can see a pub straight away if you get off the train station. But they all vary in different levels of what are you going to see next. I mean, I think, was it last year we went into a pub that was down some steps and it was like walking into a karaoke bar from somewhere. And it was like, what is this place? What is this? And it was just on a Friday afternoon. What's that?
Didn't we go in some boozer that was selling out bottles of Holston pills for 80p? Something ridiculous like that.
Was that the pub across the ground? That old one which
no,
it was near the karaoke spot you've just mentioned.
I see. All right, okay.
No, I think Jordan's on about the place near the train station. You know, that near
right, okay.
Opposite there. Is that 90p a bottle?
Is that the one where we were dragging people out? About 2 years ago, last year or something? The one place what we dragged people out on a Saturday or something. Yeah, I remember now. But as for the ground, what do we think to Bellevue?
I don't like where they put the away fans now.
No.
Strange. Yeah, it's a bit tight.
It's very strange.
If you remember, I'm not sure, last year's game, well, there were 2 games out last year. The second one, absolutely throwing it down on a Friday night. We ended up in that little tin shed that were at the far end near the Benidorm Flats, that they've put up there. And honestly, it was just such a weird experience being there, though. It was like, what is this place that you built? You built a little temporary stand, and there were I think there's a bar next to it in there or something, and it's just such a weird experience. It's good, but I'm not sure
I don't mind it. I think
it's 4-2.
Can't remember, actually.
I think there was only one try in the entire game, wasn't there? It was awful.
Was that when
we scored?
Lol Hay scored.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
He slowed for meters, didn't he?
Yeah. We went mental. Yeah, absolutely mental, don't we? Yeah, it was not too bad. So Wakefield away, what are we giving it?
We've had some good days out there over the years. One game that I think is dramatically underrated among Rhinos fans in terms of all the great comebacks we had over the years was the one in 2009. I think that was the day where loads of us walked from Headingley to Wakefield to raise money for the Benevolent Fund. I think we were 18 points down with 10 minutes left or something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember. We scored right on the hooter with Maguire and Maguire tripped himself up and flung it to Donald, who scored in the corner, and it was unbelievable comeback, and not many people seem to remember that game.
It was superb, that game, absolutely brilliant. Scott Donald proving what a world-class winger he was.
My memory I can think of, I think that was going back 2005. Ali Lawati scoring 5 tries.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was a mental display. He literally took him apart, didn't he, on that game? But it just seems a proper traditional ground, but it's just so. It needs updating, but
it needs a little bit of a revamp, doesn't it?
Yeah, it needs a bit of love and care to it, but it's still great experience going there. So what we're giving it out of 10, boys?
I'll go 7.
7, okay. George?
5.
Oh, okay.
Oof.
6. Okay, so right, we'll give it 6.5. 7. 7. We'll give it 7. Right, so finally on this sort of section, Huddersfield. Oh, let's throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Huddersfield away. See, I've grown to like Huddersfield away. I never used to. I always used to think it was a bit dull. What do you think, boys? What would you rate Huddersfield as an away trip?
I would say about 7, but I'm going to knock it down to 6 because of that twat with the cowbell. There's just no real point in it, is there? I mean, it's sparse enough in that spot without him in the background, putting people off going.
I think they've lost it, haven't they? I don't think they have it, but I'm sure we'll probably get corrected on that. I'm sure somehow, I don't remember it being there the last game. I can't remember where we played them last year, because obviously it's been postponed twice this year. Chris, what's your overlasting memory of Huddersfield away?
Oh, God, be here all day. 2003 semi-final.
Incredible.
2015, like I said, of a week. I'd say probably I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Okay.
Atmosphere-wise, from the home supporters, is terrible. They've got about 5 fans. The cowbell, like you've mentioned, that lets it down. But it's a quick train journey over for us. We've got Wetherspoons, we've got a few bars, Gasworks. I really enjoy it. I think it's a decent away trip. It's up there for me.
I do like Huddersfield. I think it's a bit maligned, but it's quite a good day out. And to be fair, Huddersfield fans, they're sound, and whenever we see him at pubs and stuff, it's a good. There's plenty of choice for bars in Huddersfield, so it's not too bad. Right, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for me. What are we giving it, boys?
Oh, 8 for me.
Should have been 7. It's just led over the bell.
Just that knocks a point down. Any musical instruments at rugby games, knock a point off slightly. Right. So
does that include the
no points left.
Does that include the South Stand? Let's not talk about that. We actually should talk about Leeds. Should we talk? Right. Should we do a non-biased review of Headingley? I think that could be a good point. Just to be a bit more polite and make it non-biased as we are. What would we say if you were Headingley? If you're going to Headingley, what would you rate a day out experience at Headingley?
Depends if it's raining or not. I'd imagine it's absolutely grim on that West Terrace when it's pissing down.
It's not a pleasant place to be. I'll give you that.
That's unfortunately the one little thing that lets Headingley down, the Western Terrace. If only we could get rid of those houses behind. Get a little bit of a proper stand-up. That's the only thing missing. Everything else.
It would be amazing, wouldn't it?
It was class now, yeah. It is. And I'd imagine all the pubs around Headingley and that. I'd imagine it's quite a good, decent place to visit because of all the pubs and stuff around the ground, but it must be awful on that West Terrace.
If I was an away fan, you've got to say, I think for an away day, I think the fact of being on the Western Terrace would probably knock a few points off. I think for the overall experience, I'd say probably about an 8, but knock 8.5 maybe, knock it down 8 out of 10 maybe. If you're going for like the whole day experience of food and stuff, it's going to quite high, but it's just the actual terrace is not the best, is it? So,
I mean, we've recently moved over to the Western, and to be fair, we wouldn't have said this years ago, but I actually quite like it in there.
I do actually.
I suppose it all, which like you say, it all depends on the weather. But I think you've got that room to manoeuvre around where you've got all your facilities, you've got your bars, you've got your you can get food. You're not. It's like with the South Stand right now, you're barging. It's near on impossible to get in and out.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
I could do an episode about that spot.
Oh, jeez.
Right, we'll just take a short break, everybody, guys, and we'll be back and we'll be looking over the Pennines, over the dark border. See you in a few seconds. And welcome back to Loiners View. Just to let you know as well, guys and girls, what the hell? We are on YouTube. You can find us on there. Basically, on our YouTube channel, you'll find video broadcasts of our podcasts, plus loads of videos and stuff that we'll be taking eventually when the season restarts. Hopefully, we'll be there to watch it. Who knows? And you can go onto YouTube and just type in Loiners View, and we are on there. Right. It is time for the Team of the Week. Team of the Week. There we go. Yeah, see, I couldn't do it very well. I tried. It just sounded crap. Right, so this week's Team of the Week is Red Star Belgrade. Okay, I thought somebody would do some cheering there. But yeah, Red Star Belgrade, who basically, they're our Team of the Week. Go check them out on Twitter. And they've got the biggest player announcement, apparently, that they're making this weekend, maybe, I think. And also, their season restarts in June. So, yeah, fair play to them. Jord, you've got a story about Red Star Belgrade, don't you?
I did. I actually went to Millom when I played them in the Challenge Cup. It was big news at the time, wasn't it? Was it last season or the season before? One of the two.
Last year, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but they put up a decent fight. Millom were obviously miles better than them, but they had some interesting players playing for them. They had 2 American lads who were both internationals, and an Aussie lad playing standoff who played for Redcliffe Dolphins in the Queensland Cup and everything. He was sort of running the show for them. It was quite a good occasion, really. They actually had some fans with them from Serbia as well, setting bloody smoke bombs off and had flags and that. They were bonkers, really. But it was a good experience to be there.
So, I mean, we need that sort of thing, don't we? But I mean, expansion and stuff. So we should try and get more clubs like that into Challenge Cup, do you think?
I wouldn't have fancied playing against them, that's for sure. Absolutely massive.
Really? I can imagine
honestly, even their wingers look like Nemanja Vidic. They were massive.
Hey, you never know. It could be a future away trip, this.
I know, it could be. Can you imagine?
I know.
That would be
It's
amazing.
got Belgrade.
Just saying, I'm not going.
Well, I'm sure. I think maybe in a few weeks' time we might have an expansion. We might do an expansion one where we can talk about clubs and future. We could do a future of the game, couldn't we? I suppose. Right. So let's go back and restart this week's topic. Well, not restart it, but move across the Pennines, and let's look at the teams over in the Pennines and the away days. Now, let's be honest. We have got some good rivalries from clubs across there. Let's start at a place which we've had a massive rivalry for many years, Wigan. What do we reckon to Wigan for an away day, boys?
I quite like it. We never seem to get results there, do we? I mean, very, very rarely do we go over there and get anything. I think it was the last time we won there in that Superman kit. Am I right?
I can't remember, actually.
It's a good while ago now.
No, we've definitely, I'm sure we won there not that long. Oh, God, we're going to have to look it up, aren't we? I think it's a while back, but yeah, we don't have a good record there at all.
I'm not counting that friendly in January before anyone.
Yeah,
says,
yeah,
you know?
that's just friendly, yeah. In fact, yeah, that was the last time, but it's in the competitive fixture. No, Chris, any abiding memories of Wigan, or is it one of those places?
Yeah, I think it was. I think about 2010. I'm sure the game was on a Sunday, and basically it was to qualify for the semi-finals. So I recall. I don't know if it was the same game where Magsy got injured. I'm probably thinking.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Was that the same one?
I'm sure it's that one. Yeah, because
there was all that crap with Phil Clark having a go.
Yeah.
But I remember
that's one.
It was such a back and forth game, and then it went down to, I think there must have only been like minutes to spare. We conceded penalty. Basically, then Pat Richards, I think, was like maybe literally a minute to go. It was either Leeds to go through or Wigan kick it there through to the semis. Goes for it, misses it, and then we're through. I think that's the one that kind of sticks out for me. I think Wigan's a decent away trip. Feel like I'm going to get a nosebleed every time I'm at the back of the stand. I always remember there were like one year where we were losing and some idiot ran on pitch and had to go at referee, and he sort of turned the game round and we ended up winning. So obviously whether that were, must have had a good word with referee.
Loyal supporter, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It just shows how passionate Leeds fans are, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at Wigan as well, you've got everything on your doorstep. You've got all restaurants, you've got all bars. So if you to go over there and make a bit of an afternoon of it, it'll be decent. I remember we went over with Steady and Harry for Steady's birthday, so we ended up having a few beers beforehand. So yeah, I'd say Wigan's up there.
It's a bit of a trek, isn't it?
I think the good thing about Wigan is when you get a result there, it doesn't take you long to get home because all the car park's empty by the time you come out of the ground. It's great.
Although, saying that though, the amount of traffic getting away from Wigan is always bonkers, isn't it?
It's awful down that main stretch.
Yeah.
Just
although, have you guys? I know I must admit, getting a train from Wigan's a nightmare, because it's an absolute pain in the backside to walk up. It's a bit of a walk from the ground to the stations, isn't it? It's about 10-minute walk, quarter of an hour. I know it doesn't seem long, but it's quite a bit of a hike up the hill, isn't it?
I once went to Wigan away. This is true. And my sat nav was playing up, so I pulled over, and there was a bloke with a Wigan shirt on going to the ground. So I thought, I'll ask him for directions. So I pulls the car over, winds the window down, goes, "Excuse me, mate, how'd you get to the DW Stadium?" And he replied, "My brother gives me a lift." Oh, cheers for that, mate. Does he want to? Can I follow him?
Does that just not sum up Wigan fans? I don't know. It's one of those, isn't it? All right. What are we giving Wigan then? What are we going to give that out of 10?
8.
Chris?
I'm going to do a loss. I'll go 8.5.
Well, I'm going with 8, so I think it's 8 out of 10 for Wigan. I think what's that, mate?
While we're still on the subject of Wigan, the most overrated pies in the whole world. I was so disappointed.
They are terrible. Sorry, Wigan. Right, the next venue that next club I should say that we're going to look at is a bit of a weird one. It's going to cause I think this could be the lowest score. Salford. Gentlemen, Salford away. What are we saying?
Horrible.
Feel shit, just want the Willows back.
I love the Willows. I mean, we've had a few people, I've put some questions to the public, and basically a few things have like basically said, some people that have quoted going, Salford is such a bad away day. We want the old place back. Willows were brilliant, but AJ Bell's just awful. It feels awful.
You know what? It just feels so soulless. It's off the motorway. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around it. It is literally a shithole. You can smell it. It's awful.
I feel sorry for their fans because their fans seem a really good bunch as well. Like when we were at the game earlier this season, one of the games we played, and the fans were like, we were chatting what we before, and they know sound, a really good set of fans. But it's just such a soulless place. It's it feels like just concrete, doesn't it? There's nothing else about it.
There's nothing really going on as like a visiting fan either. Like you've got that little. You've got a little hut, haven't you? So you've got like DJ, you've got the bar, but other than that, there's nothing really much going on around the ground, is there? And you get it. I don't know if it's still the case, but when we were in the away end behind sticks, I remember there was a time where there was like a big gap between the walls as well. There was really bad weather. You had all wind blowing in whilst you're inside. I mean, when you're in the away end, when you look to your right, you see the corporate side of it. It don't look too bad, but for me, when you look at the stands and it looks skew-iff, it just doesn't look right at all.
It feels almost like a Lego brick stadium. John,
it looks like a flat-packed stadium. It feels like they've been in a rush to get to a new ground. They're going to leave the Willows. They've just gone, right, we'll just plonk it here in the middle of nowhere, and there you go. And it's probably the worst new ground in recent history. It's shit.
They've played some cracking rugby over the past couple of years at Salford, though. It's a shame that no one turns them to watch it. I mean, the RFL could probably allow matches to be on in that stadium now. You just socially distance yourself out the stadium. Just
no issues.
Nobody goes, does it? But Joe, I just remember about Salford. Do you remember back in the day when we used to go to the Willows? And there's that old man who looked like Mike Baldwin off Corrie.
Yeah. Him and Danny all the time, every time.
Poor Danny. Get better soon, Danny.
He used to look like Mike Baldwin, but behave like Norris Cole. But he just walked around the stand wanting to chin everybody for 18 minutes. He was great entertainment. You just used to wind him up all the way through the game, didn't you?
I love Willows. It was such a great ground. It was such like it had passion about it, didn't it? It was just perfect. And then to move there, it's like.
I mean, that little working men's club that you used to sign into.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. It's like it's going from like dating, I don't know, Holly Willoughby to then going out with Gemma Collins. It's like such a big drop in like class. It's just like what have you done? Why have you done this? Right. I'm going to give my review now. I'm going 3 out of 10. I like Salford. I like the fans. They seem a good bunch, but the ground itself is 3 out of 10 for me. What about you, Jordan?
I would have said 3. I'm going to give it 4 because I would literally just warmed up from the game there the other month before. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit better about the place now. So I'll give it a 4.
Patrick, sorry, Chris.
I'm going to go 3.
3. Yeah, we'll go 3.5. Sorry, Salford. You've got
what more can we say about it, really?
No, it's the ground itself. All right, so then we move across a little bit to Warrington. Now, we'll start this off. Jordan, do you want to go first?
Had some cracking days out there over the years, haven't we?
It's
particularly the night where we beat them in the semi-final. Was it 2011? I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
My last memory from that trip, in particular, was Chris was with me at the time. We went into that Tesco next to the ground to get some cans for the train home, and there's an old bloke running after me and Chris and a couple of the lads, going, "Fucking cheat! Fucking cheat!" He's going like trying to shout. He's like, "I'm not the ref, mate. Why are you shouting at me? I haven't done anything." And he's getting more and more aggressive, and I couldn't help myself. So I goes to Chris, "Watch this." I'm like, "Excuse me, mate. What aisle grand final tickets in?" And he's come over and he's tried to chin us both, hasn't he, Chris?
Oh yeah, I remember that was the same time where Tom Lawrence went into Tesco's with us, and he were proper giving it to him, weren't he? We were winding them up. But yeah,
and then when we come out of there, someone had threw themselves in front of the train, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So all the train home were cancelled. So we were basically stuck in pubs in Warrington until 1, 2 in the morning when they eventually got a replacement train. But for a minute, they were going to have to pay for us all taxis back to Leeds. And the only thing Harry could think about was, "Can I drink my cans?"
Well, do you remember as well, because we eventually got on the train, and luckily we jumped off the train when we did, because if we wouldn't have done, we'd have ended up in Liverpool.
Good old Liverpool. The other thing about what I love about Warrington is that pub, the King's Head, just next to the train station. Have you been in there, George?
Yes, yeah.
Have you been? We went in after the game last year, where it was that Saturday night, the first game of the season. We went in there afterwards, and we were all there in our Leeds shirts, and we were all thinking, "Oh God, we're going to get killed here." And literally, it was like a rave, an outdoor rave in this pub, wasn't it? And there were no trouble, but literally, we were drinking and everyone were having a laugh, and it was such a nice, welcoming place. I mean, I can imagine it on when they play like St Helens and Wigan. I bet it's a bit intimidating in there if you're an opposition fan, but brilliant place. It was such a nice pub in that one, but I don't know. I think for me, it's a very high score one. This one, I think, for me.
Great atmosphere in the ground too. They make a lot of noise, don't they?
Good set of fans, yeah. I mean, that it's one of the only places where, even though it's a modern stadium, it actually feels proper atmospheric for rugby. I think it's a cracking venue.
The fans kind of remind me a little bit of ourselves as well. Very loud, very passionate. The only thing that's missing with them right now, although we joke about it, is having that grand final win.
Yeah.
But, they're brilliant set out there. Like every time we go to the Magic weekend, they're always the loudest. Yeah. It's like Hull FC as well, but it's usually Wire fans. They're the ones that are always making the noise.
And they're always funny whenever you're out with them and stuff, as we've experienced.
Especially Bucky.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh, she's all right. Right. So, out of 10 boys, what we're giving Warrington? Chris?
I'll go 9.
Same. Warrington currently leading the scoreboard there. Right. And then we move on to St Helens. Gentlemen, St Helens, what we're going to give their new... Well, it's not really new now, is it? It's been there for quite a while. What we're going to give Saints away? How we're going to review that?
I actually quite like Langtree Park, Like, don't get me wrong, it's no Knowsley Road, and I love that place when we used to go there. But what I like about Langtree Park in particular, in terms of the newer grounds, I like how, on the concourse, they've tried to make little touches to make it their home. So when you go up and down the concourse, and there's old signs from pubs on the wall, and there's posters of St Helens legends, and you try to proper decorate the concourse so it doesn't just look like your flat pack concrete box that a lot of new stadiums are. So yeah, I quite like it.
I think everything George just said there absolutely spot on, and I think that's the one thing that's slightly missing maybe at Headingley with, say, the North Stand, the South Stand. It needs a lick of paint, and it needs that little bit of history. It needs to sort of have that heritage going around it. Obviously with the South Stand right now, it's looking a little bit plain. So yeah, I think same with what Jordan was saying. You go there, the facilities are good. You look around, you see all the history of Helens. It's still not the same as going to Knowsley Road. The amount of memories that we've had there. That's the one ground where if I could kind of go back in time and revisit, I would love to. But in terms of a team moving from an old ground to a new ground, I think it's worked out quite well for them.
Yeah, I think them and Warrington have been the teams that have really benefited, haven't they? Really, I think they've ended up with. I mean, they're not identical. In fact, they're far from it. But they've almost got that same sort of atmospheric thing about them that they managed to recreate from their old places. I mean, their fans will probably disagree, especially Saints fans. But it does seem quite a great. St Helens away I think it's a good day out. Actually, I think it's a good atmosphere.
The only thing I'm not quite sure of, because we normally when we go there, we pull up and we're straight into the ground. I'm not sure if there's maybe anything nearby the ground that we could maybe go to support.
There is.
That's
some
the only thing
around
that I'm kind of missing out on really with Saints.
It's a bit of a walk over the bridge. I don't think there's anything in the vicinity of it, but it's not far.
It's not far from the centre. No, you're looking probably about 5-10 minute walk.
I parked there when I went to the World Club Challenge, and it's a 10-minute walk.
So I'm going to give St Helens away.
8. Because we always get thumped at Langtree Park. Other than that,
8 from Jordan. Chris.
Yeah, I can't give it a 9 like Warrington because of, like you say, because of the distance between hubs and where the ground is. So I would say Warrington slightly higher. So Saints, I'm going to have to go with 8 as well.
Yeah, I'm with the same with you guys. I think they do provide a heck of a lot of noise, and it's also a really good it has that feeling, doesn't it, when you go there? There's a bit of passion there, which some of these modern sporting venues don't have. Right, and then we'll leave the M62. We go to the south of France. Catalan away. Boys, what do you think? Perpignan, what's your
It's a dream,
overall...
isn't it? It's the king of away days for me.
King of the away days, yeah. It's quite interesting because, like we were saying about this before, like Jordan, we're going to mention it as well. I think they've got rid of it now. This whole thing with you want to buy a pint or you want a hot dog, and you have to buy like 20 odd different bloody tokens. Like George's colourblind as it is, so it's like you've got to.
Don't
bully him. Come on, Chris.
No, honestly. I went on a right rant, didn't know about it, me. I was just, all I wanted was a pint. And I'm stood there and he's going, no, two. I was like, just give us a pint. Honestly, it would have been easier to win $5,000 on the chase and buy a pint in that spot. I'm there, honestly, I'm stood there. I'm abroad, you know, it's a long way away from home from Cumbria for me, that down there. It's red hot. I'm steaming. I'm colourblind. Just get me a pint. And he's here like trying to take all these coloured tokens out my hand. Oh, no, it's the only thing that, no.
Is that the only downside?
If it wasn't for the fact that them hot dogs are so nice, I wouldn't bother.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've been there, but do they still do those ham baguette things? I had a few of them. There was outside. Oh, maybe not. They might have changed it. There was like a big like stall thing that they had outside when we went in the actual ground itself. Really nice. It's like baguette things. Anyway, yeah. So I'm waffling now. I don't know. So what? Would you recommend? Is that Perpignan the best away day? Do we think in Super League? Well, yeah.
Well, it's going to be because obviously, especially when you have it in the summer, you know, you either stay in Perpignan or you go to France for a week, all inclusive. So you make a bit of a holiday of it. So it's kind of hard to compare. I mean, Catalans are completely. It goes without saying, Catalans is a completely different away trip to what we've just been talking about before.
Are we kind of going to right? Without sounding harsh, boys, are we going to include Catalans in this thing?
I think we should. I mean, I think it's. I'll probably just say if anyone's listening who hasn't been to Catalan before, you know, me and Jordan would turn around and say, "Look, it's worth visiting. It's it's a lovely city." I think for me, just in terms of rugby league memories as well, and going away with mates, like the one sort of memory that sticks out for me was we went to the London Broncos game in 2005. You know, we spent a week in Calella, went over for the game. We're all wearing sombreros. Leeds were winning at the time. Started doing conga all the way around the ground. We ended up on the London Broncos bench. We're on the Leeds bench. We had players behind us. We had the steward chasing after us. By the time we got back into the away ends, Leeds were losing. It's things like that you will always look back on. You know, the amount of times that me, Jordan and Floyd have gone over and had such a good laugh. So I think we've got his own UK away analysis, but obviously you can't do this without...
Boys, I'm going to say we'll exclude... Yeah, we'll kind of... Go, Chod.
The only thing with Catalan, I've never seen us win there. I've been multiple times now. I've never seen us win down there, but it doesn't manage to spoil the trip. One story that I do feel like that's worth mentioning. Obviously, Floydie was on the podcast last week, and he's involved in one of the best Catalan-related stories for me. But he got himself onto the pitch and pinched a corner flag one year from Catalans, and it was at the time where one of our mates who might be on a future podcast, Ricky, he was actually working for Catalans at the time, and obviously he caught wind that Floydie had pinched a corner flag. So he spoke to a few of his contacts at the Rhinos and said, "Look, we're going to have him on. We're going to say that if he doesn't ring the club and apologise for stealing the corner flag, he's banned and his season tickets getting cancelled." Now, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty certain he ended up ringing the ticket office manager at the Rhinos and apologising for stealing the corner flag so he could come back in. But and then we sort of let him on about hours later that it was just a joke.
I got told to mention this. Phil, who is a friend of ours, who I think he used to be the chef at the Rhinos, wasn't he? He was. Yeah. Basically, he told me we can't go into this story on here, but all he told me to mention was bog brush. So that's all I'm going to say on that. So Phil, thanks for. I'm not going to say any more on that. We can't broadcast that. That's definitely one for another time. Right, gents. So if you're going to give him a score, obviously we're not going to include it. What would you give it? Is it 10 out of 10, Job?
Yeah, 10. The only downside to the whole Catalans away trip is if you stay Sunday, there's shite all to do sometimes. So you have to make your own, a lot of the pubs shut really early and things like that. So just a top tip for anyone that goes, get yourself to Canet on a Sunday afternoon. It's a little beach resort there where I think most of the Catalan team tend to live, so it's clearly the best place around there. And that's where we tend to go and have a good drink on the Sunday.
Chris?
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for me.
I think that's the unofficial winner of the Super League clubs for us. But obviously, we'll kind of say Warrington does win it because it's more of a trip, isn't it, to Catalan rather than an away day. Although, we'll include it. Gents, before, we've got the Super League ones out of the way. I think we need to have a look at a couple of other away days that you can have and that we've had over many years. Bradford, away day. What would you rate that, for instance?
I've always enjoyed it, apart from last year.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Yeah, that was a very drunken day and a bad result day, yeah. If we were going to give that a score?
I quite like that pub across the road and as you go in and things like that, really. So it's not too bad. But do you remember that year we went and it was about 35 degrees during the game?
And we had water fights on terraces, because it was so hot, yeah. It was the only time where chucking a bottle of water was actually appreciated. I think everyone was just like, oh. That was a cracking away day, that. The only problem with Top House is it gets so busy. It's a nightmare. There's no other... there's that pub just down the road, isn't there? That's not too bad, but Top House is a bit...
ridiculous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lost, did you go to the... Speaking of Odsal memories, and this is going to be an awful one, did you go to the semi-final against Huddersfield?
Yeah, well, there were you, mate, wasn't I? Yeah.
We were sure we were
yeah.
Twickenham. What an awful game that was.
You mentioned that day. It's a totally unrelated rugby league story. I watched that Huddersfield semi-final in a pub in Calella. I wasn't actually, in Catalans. I went on a school trip to Salou. Sorry, we went on a school trip to Salou. I got excused from the water park trip so I could go and watch the semi-final in the pub. And I got talking to this man and woman, and I was like, oh, they know all sorts about rugby league. And when all come to all, Martin Gleeson's mum and dad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Random.
Later ended up in loads of trouble, but we won't go there.
No, let's not. Right, just Bradford, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I'm not a big fan of Odsal. In fact, yeah.
Depends on the weather, really. Obviously, with the ground as it is, I'd say 7.
Really? Okay. Fair dues. George?
Well, to be fair, I'll go back on that. I think Mr. Christopher Wins has kind of changed my view on Bradford in general. So we had the trip out in Bradford City Centre, so we kind of got to experience a bit more
the bars
in Bradford before we went for the game last time round. So it's kind of bumped it up for me a little bit.
We'll give you that. George, what would you give it?
Yeah, but very similar to Chris as well.
Just down the railway line from Bradford, we've got a nice little place called Halifax.
Oh, can we get them in the Challenge Cup?
You know what, right? I'll be honest, boys. I love Halifax away. I think it's my favourite away day. I love it. And we are going to... we might have a Halifax guest on in a few weeks' time. We'll get that sorted out. We'll give further details in the next few weeks. But Halifax away is just such a good day out. Absolutely amazing. So many pubs in the centre as well. And literally not.
But do you think you enjoy it more because of the novelty factor, because they've been out of Super League for so long?
I actually like the ground. I'll be honest with you, I like the Shea. I think Shea is such a nice ground. Now that they've, okay, it's only 3 stands effectively, but I like it. I think it's a good venue for rugby league. It's got quite a good atmosphere when it gets going in there as well, because obviously it's quite backed up. But I like it. John, have you been to Halifax?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, there's to be honest, there's a lot of cracking trips in the Championship. Now, obviously, last year for a few weeks it looked like the worst might actually happen. Okay, it would have been so embarrassing and it would have been financially crippled off the back of it, but we'd have had some fun, wouldn't we?
Oh, we would. Oh, yeah. But a place like Dewsbury and Batley. And
Batley's brilliant. You've been to Batley for a match?
Very long time ago. Very long time ago.
I've been to Batley. I've been to Dewsbury a few times.
Yeah, I did like Batley.
The old Heaven Wool and Derbies. Oh, I'd love to go to one of them, I must admit. The other, what would you give Halifax for an away day?
It's hard to really give it a rating because it's not like we
No,
go there
no.
all the time. So it's going to be a bit harsh. That's maybe 8.
Yeah, that sounds about right for me. Yeah, Jord.
I haven't been for years, so I won't really.
You're
I can't give
gonna-
a fair assessment.
Fair enough. And finally, I think this will be the final review we'll do of this. London away. London away, what are we giving,
We're
boys?
talking current
Which
London
venue?
ground.
Right, we'll go with Ealing, because I like Ealing.
Going
I've
with
got to
Ealing.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a real... I know it's technically their tenant, shall we say, they're not actually the owners of it. I really like it. I think it's a really nice little ground. It does its job. I think it's really good. I think it's a really nice day out there, actually. What do you reckon?
I quite like it. When we first played them in the middle 8s, we turned up thinking, where on earth are we playing here? But I think since they've had the experience of being in the middle 8s, that they've obviously, kind of like expanded with the facilities, haven't they? They've got that new bar in. They've got that neat seated area as well from both sides. I think it's a little bit of a novelty ground. It's like, I don't know, it's almost like you feel like you're just walking onto a training pitch.
Yeah, it's kind of got it doesn't feel quite right, but it feels interesting, doesn't it? It's almost like it's a non-traditional rugby league ground, but at the same time, it feels quite good to be there, doesn't it? It's almost...
Yeah.
It has that ability.
Nothing will beat going to Brentford, though, in 2005. What a trip that was.
Brentford with all the 4 pubs on each corner of the ground. I mean...
If you haven't guessed already, basically, these away trips are all purely based on how much you're going to be. That's all. That's really all.
No comment, Chris Patrick. Go on, George, what are you going to say there, mate?
British people in general. That's just British people in general, isn't it? Like, you get back off your holidays and go, oh, did you have a nice time in Greece? Oh, £1 a pint. That's literally that's your review, isn't it? Everything else was shit, but at least the ale was cheap.
Best part of going to Asia, you were like, oh, it's 20p a pint over there. And everyone goes, what? Honestly, that was amazing. Right, gentlemen.
I did like Ealing, to be honest, when we went there last year. It was a good day out there. It's red hot, and I realised Carling's a run to the litter with beer, but 3 bottles for a tenner. Can't knock that in London, can you?
No, especially not in that part of London as well. It was quite a leafy. Did you? Oh, that bar that went into beforehand. I can't remember the name of it. I should have researched it before we were doing this tonight.
Oh,
like 2 drinks, yeah.
I know.
2 drinks.
Yeah,
2 drinks cost me like £18. I was just like, what? I think it was a pint of gin and tonic in there. Probably gin and tonic cost it, but
I ordered a pint of like London lager or something, I think it was, and the bloke behind the counter goes, that was £6.80, please. I went, oh, is that it? He just looked at me like...
You don't need to pull my trousers too high up, mate. It's all right. But yeah, I love London away. It's a good day out.
At least have the decency to wear a mask, but everyone has to these days, don't they? So...
That'll be for the future of this year. Yeah. Right, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure as always. And so, yeah, I think we've crowned Warrington as our, away day for one day winner. And Catalan's, our proper, for a 3-day bender, basically.
Catalan's the best away trip in France.
There you go. Can't be that.
There we go.
Right, gents. Chris, Jordan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Next week, we'll be slightly down in the dumps about the fact it will be Magic Weekend next weekend, or it should have been. So we'll be having a Magic Weekend special next week, and we'll be reminiscing about our favourite moments and talking about, our history and where we rate is in venues for Magic Weekend, and that'll be next Thursday's show. So until then, folks, please stay safe. Have a great week.
Take a lot.
Goodbye.
See you guys.